Do you want to become a photographer? Do you want to start your own business of photography? What camera should I get? How much does it cost? Which one should I buy? That is the number one question I see time and time again. People ask me, or people ask this question all the time. I see it in a lot of groups that I'm in, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. What it takes to be a photographer, what camera you should get, and is photography really hard? But before we get started, did you guys know you guys can give me stars? And not only helps on my channel, but it continues to keep the conversation going. So with that said, let's begin. One of the things that a lot of people have this misconception is that they can do photography, but they don't know where to begin. They just think it's just picking up a camera and like, I'm gonna take a photo and it's gonna come out great, right? And so, and I've had people tell me, why spend thousands of dollars on a camera when you have a phone and you can just take pictures with the phone and it comes out just as great as a photography camera? Yes and no. But before we get started, the number one question that people constantly always ask is this one. Is what camera should I buy? And something similar like that. A lot of people ask is, what kind of camera should I buy? And one of the questions before we start this is, if you're asking what camera should you buy, my question is, what is your budget? Do you have a budget? Is your budget big or small? I always say, if you already have a small camera, start working with that one and start teaching yourself how to improve with that one. Maybe do small little sessions, I would say. Start charging $5, $10, whatever, and start taking just regular. You can do great photos with just a camera that you have. It doesn't matter if it's a small camera or if it's a camera like this. And if you really practice and you have an eye, you can take great photos with just a camera like this or with this. Sometimes even your phone, but nothing compares to this or this one. Now, a lot of people always say, well, I can take pictures with my phone. Yes, but they don't do as good justice as a camera does. Because with the camera, you can do natural, you can do things with it. You can play, you can like do depth of field, you can make the person in the background look blurry, and the person in the front not look blurry. You can do a lot of different things. You can brighten up a photo or you can darken up a photo. It's all depending on what kind of style of photography you want to do. And that is what we're going to get into next, is what kind of photography should I do? It all depends on what your eye is leaning towards. In my opinion, if you want to learn how to become a family photographer or a wedding photographer, because I had someone come and ask me, like, what does it take to be a wedding photographer? You done weddings? And I was like, it's one of the most scariest things that I've ever done in my life, but I'm proud that I've done them. Not only because I'm proud of myself, but because I took the leap of faith of like getting out of the shell, because you're never going to get better if you don't improve. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that these people blessed me with, allowing me to practice and get better at. And it was just a fun experience overall. I've grown and I've learned from my mistakes. And I think your successors are your failures, because that's what's going to teach you how to get better at things. So I was very grateful for these moments. And some of the photos that I've taken are these and these. And then it just taught me overall how to become a better photographer. Now, I don't necessarily recommend starting with weddings. If you do want to start becoming a wedding photographer because you think that's what you want to do, I suggest you ask any local photographers. There's a lot of groups on social media, on Facebook, TikTok, X, wherever social media you're in. Instagram is usually where they're all at. But there's a lot of community groups that I'm in Facebook. You can join and look for photographers in your area, local photographers in your area, a local photography group in your area, and just ask any of them, hey, will any of you be willing to let me mirror you guys for a photography session when you guys do a wedding session? Let me practice, and I'll follow you guys, and then I'll have my own camera, and you guys can let me shoot my own photos as well and help me and guide, be like a backup photographer or something, and let me be of a help. Someone will, a billion people will say no, but will be at least one person that will say yes. It will help you get your foot in the door and keep knocking. Don't give up. The people that don't give up and keep going, it's what helps you succeed and will help you become better. I remember people used to tell me, you need to give up on your photography. You're just not that great at it. You may think you're good at it, but you ain't going nowhere. It's not like it's going to pay you anything. That's why you got phones, and phones do a better job than your photos. And I was just like, okay, like everybody has a phone. She was exactly, that's why I say that. I was like, well, okay, that's weird. That's just how some people think. And then there's people who just don't understand what kind of camera they want to get, and you're just like, so I always say, like I go back to the beginning, is start with the budget. If your budget is high, within the like 2,000, 3,000 range, and then I always say, my thing for me is go to the stores and try out all the cameras that they have on display that you can try. It's always worth it to try out every single camera and do your research. Go home, do your research before you buy. If you want to buy, if you're thinking of looking into Canon, buy Canon and do your research about Canon. One of the only other things I recommend is a key tip is that if you are a beginner and this is your first camera, I always recommend to buy a kit camera. A kit camera always comes with 2 lenses, and it's a starter kit. It's like to help you. It's like a basic camera to help you, to get your foot going. Like the Nikon D3200 is the other one that I have, and that one was a kit, and it came with 2 lenses, and then I bought an extra one, which is my favorite lens, and I shoot with this lens every single time for my nephews. Running events, cross-country events, I like to shoot with them because I can still be from afar and I can just and plus these lenses fit my old camera, so that's why I always recommend that if you're gonna stick with one camera and you're gonna buy lenses, stick with that, because it's gonna save you not only time but money. Because when you want to switch later on and upgrade to a different camera, if it's still within the camera lens of, as long as it's not mirrorless, because that's a whole nother topic. Mirrorless is a whole nother issue. There's new cameras that are called mirrorless. They take similar lenses, but it's a different type of lens. And these lenses, if I'm not mistaken, you guys can fact check me, but if I'm not mistaken, these lenses, excuse me, will not fit a mirrorless camera. They will not fit. And so one of the things that I always tell people is, if you guys want to do photography, the best way to do photography is just get out there, buy a camera that fits your budget, or if you have one like this, don't be afraid to start practicing. What I do is I go to YouTube and I search the camera that I have, and I Google tips on how to shoot better with this camera. There's tons of videos out there, tons of videos on YouTube. Like, you can just watch, and I usually do this one for my videos. That's why I got it. And so I just need to buy a better SD card and a lens, and hopefully I can upgrade as I keep going to this. But another thing is start charging people. Like, say, hey, do a free sessions, because that's gonna get you in the door first thing before, because people was like, oh, I gotta make money, so I gotta start charging. No, first thing first is treat every session as if it was basically you're making money, but you're not really making money. That doesn't make sense, but if it does, it will. So basically, every session that you have with a potential customer, you let them know, hey, I'm having I'm a new photographer. I'm an amateur photographer. I want to develop my portfolio, and I wanted to know if you guys are willing to let me shoot your family photos for free, and I'll just email you, or I'll just send you all the photos on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, vice versa. The contract you create, and always key. I've learned this, and I don't emphasize this enough. This key term is learn to create a contract, even if it's free, and state on the contract what it is that you're giving them these photos, because sometimes they won't give you the credit. And I've learned this the hard way, because I submit all my photos to my nieces and nephews' cross-country team, and they never give me the credit. And I'm the one taking all these great photos everybody's raving about. They're all saying how excellent these photos are, and they're talking about, oh, look at our awesome runners and these fantastic photos, but not once did they give me credit. Something that I've learned is to watermark my photos. But that's if you're going to be sending them for them to have to show and tell that they're not giving you the credit. For you to avoid that, you can also put a watermark. That way, and don't make your watermark super big or where it's like right in front of their face. Make the watermark where it's kind of like noticeable, but in an area where it's not affecting your photo. So maybe down on the bottom left or the top right, but make it to where it's visible, but not necessarily too visible to where it takes away from the photo, if you get what I mean. And you can learn, there's different apps that can, or YouTube videos that can show you how to make a watermark if you want to learn how to do that. I'm still trying to learn how to figure out how to create a watermark on mine, so that's what I'm working on next. Second is, people always say, how much should I charge? Should I charge like the pros? When you're beginning and your photos get better and get better as you give away your free sessions, and then people start liking and reviewing your work, and they start word of mouth saying, hey, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, and you're getting your foot in there, start looking at the average photographer, how much they charge. And one key point that I want to leave you guys with after today's video is, photography's fun, but don't let your clients know ahead of time how much you charge for a photo. Don't post, hey, I am charging such and such amount for this, unless you're doing a special. Because, and then that way people can change. That's what another photographer taught me, is one of the things that they gave me advice on, was the crucial thing was like, you're getting there, your work is improving, you're becoming a great photographer. He goes, but stop posting about how much you're going to pay for a wedding. Don't let them know how much you're going to pay for a wedding, because that can potentially make them change their mind and go find someone else. So don't ever tell them, hey, I only charge this much for a wedding. Just be like, hey, I have this package, and it includes this package, and it includes that, and then let them choose. And then if they really, and then if you really want to go with me, then we can sit down and then we can talk numbers. But don't give them the option of wanting to go with someone else because they think your price is too high, and you just gave them the ability to go bargain somewhere else. That's why they say don't always post unless it's a special, because you're saying, hey, this is my special, this is the deal that I have going on right now, this is the only time that it's going on, that's it, take it or leave it, you know. And if people want it, take it. And then once you realize that you have all you've gotten better and you feel the confident, start posting on social media or like different groups. Like there's like selling groups that you can, like, they always say, hey, I'm having a yard sale this weekend, or I'm selling a car, and those kind of groups category put photography. I'm a local amateur photographer, I am doing a special, and this is my special for $30, and I'm doing family photos for $30 or whatever it may be. But be specific and be like, you know, not everybody's gonna get to you right away, and be bold about the dates that you're available, because I'm not available every weekend. And and I always put, you got to tell me 3 months in advance so that I can put it in, because my schedule is always 3 months in advance booked, meaning I still work a full-time job. So it's not like I can be like, hey, I need this Saturday off. It doesn't work that way. I need to put it in 3 months in advance so that I can get the Saturday off, so that I can shoot the wedding or I can shoot the event that I need. And I usually let people know, hey, I am not like a next today photographer. Like, you can just call me up and be like, hey, I'm available. No, it has to, you know, you got to be specific. If you have the free time, then you're more than welcome to do it that way. Like, I'm available. Be specific with the days and the times that you're available and for what hours. And a lot of people, I also recommend that if you want to become a photographer, please learn your settings. There's ISO, there's f-stop, there's aperture, and there's aperture priority, you know, there's auto mode, there's manual mode, there's all kinds of stuff. And you want to learn all this stuff before you even pick up the camera, because you want to learn what they mean and what they can do for you. Because once you learn all this, you can learn how to create a photo in a fantastic. Look at your priorities. How much are you willing to spend? Because cameras run from $600 up to $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $800,000. It's insane, but it just depends. And I always say, if you're gonna start with one, start with the kit lens camera, and get you going, and just start focusing on watching videos on ISO, aperture, on all that stuff. Because if I sit here and tell you what ISO is, what aperture priority is, we'll be here all day. My video will just get long and boring, and you probably want to fall asleep, and you probably won't even give me stars, and you'll probably be like, she don't deserve a star. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget, you guys can give me stars so we can continue to get this conversation going, and it not only helps me continue to make better content, and I hope you guys have a blessed night.